Hello and welcome to the Abundantly Favored podcast, where faith meets mindset, gratitude fuels growth, and your words shape your world. We're your hosts, Jenny and Shelley, two sisters, wives, moms, and lifelong encouragers who believe God has richly equipped you to live an abundant life.
Each week, we dive into real conversations about mindset, faith, purpose, and the power of speaking life. Whether you're in the car, on a walk, or curled up with coffee, consider this your weekly dose of encouragement.
Abundantly favored, walking in grace, carried by mercy, held in His place. Abundantly favored, chosen and free, overflowing with love for all to see.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hey.
the Abundantly Favored podcast. We're so happy you're back joining us today, aren't we, Jen?
Yes, we are. I just have to share, I can't believe that it's already the middle of August.
I know. We did an episode
nuts.
earlier this summer that talked about like where has the summer gone or where has half the year gone. And oh my gosh, it's the middle of August. But anyway, we're
Yes.
enjoying life. This is good.
That's
We
right.
are going to start with our Bible verse. We'll just get rocking and rolling here. It is, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That's from Matthew. I can't see on my show notes what chapter that is. 11,
It's
I
chapter
think.
11, chapter
verse
11,
28.
verse 28. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So today we want you to picture something. Okay. This is something you probably all have done a lot, but we want to picture you're walking through Target. You came in for toothpaste and
Or maybe just
maybe
paper towels.
okay, maybe paper towels. Definitely not a cart full of stuff. Can anybody relate right now? Okay.
Mhm.
You're on a mission. Toothpaste, paper towels. But somehow 45 minutes later, you're checking out with decorative pumpkins, maybe a candle, snacks, a new water bottle, and things you didn't even know existed when you walked in. How does this happen?
I don't
Tell
know.
me I'm
And
not alone.
well, I'm sure you also have like, I only need two things. I don't need a cart. But then partway through, it's like maybe a basket. I should have gotten a cart. Yes, I know. Well,
Yes.
we think life works a lot the same way. So we don't intend to carry so much, but somewhere along the way, we start adding things to our cart. Can you guys relate?
Mm,
A little
yes.
worry here, a little guilt there, someone else's opinion, a
Mm.
regret from the past, a responsibility that isn't even ours. And eventually, we're dragging around a cart so full that we are exhausted.
Exactly. But the beautiful thing about today's scripture is that Jesus doesn't say, try harder. And he doesn't say, carry more. He doesn't say, get that upgrade to the thing, Jenny. Don't stop carrying the basket for all your worries. He says, come to me. So today we are going to be talking about what's in our cart and whether it belongs there. Okay, Jen, I have to ask you, I have to know, what is the funniest thing that you have ever bought on a Target run that started with just one item?
Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, I think I get lost in the dollar section. Like they put it right there in the front.
Mhm.
Do we need anything in the dollar section? No.
No,
Do we
no.
always stop to see if there's something cute? I mean, it's the dollar section.
Right.
That's probably me. What about you, Shell?
Well, mine is a little bit more like grooming related. I one day, and I have to say, I actually like this product. And for people our age, you will get this. If you're younger than a certain age, you're going to laugh. But I like went in for probably paper towels, toothpaste, whatever. I came out with these amazing wax strips for chin hairs. So they were great. They were great. But that wasn't something I intended. I didn't even know they existed. And I was like, what in the world? What? And
Yeah.
painful, maybe a little, but if you're our age and you don't have a chin hair, then I don't know what, you're not really our age. So
Tell us your secrets.
tell us your secrets, right? But yeah, that's probably the most random thing that I'm like, yeah, I just bought that. But hey,
Oh
it
my
was
gosh,
worth
I
it.
love it.
It was worth
That
it.
is
Yeah.
so awesome. Well, hey, so Shelly and I, we actually came up with some things that it's a list kind of things that maybe you're carrying either mentally or emotionally. You've been carrying it lately that probably shouldn't be in your cart. Okay. So hopefully you like this shopping analogy because I think that will relate to most people, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those things is other people's opinions. Okay.
Mm.
So this item ends up in almost everyone's cart. Someone says something, maybe they question us, or they could even criticize us. Maybe they disagree with us, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow their opinion gets tossed into our cart. So the
Mm.
problem isn't hearing opinions, the problem is carrying them. Okay. So
Ooh.
many women
Yeah.
spend years carrying words spoken by their parents, maybe their teachers or friends, coworkers. And this one kills me too, social media strangers. So the
Mm.
question becomes, did God put that opinion in your cart or did someone else?
Mm.
And if God didn't put it there, why are you still carrying it?
Amen, sister.
So I really want
True.
you to think about whose voice has been taking up way too much space in your life lately. And if it's
Ooh.
not God's, get rid of it.
Get
Forget
rid of, put
about
it
it.
back on the shelf, right?
Yes,
Put
take
it
it
back
out of
on
your
the shelf.
cart.
You don't need it, right?
You don't need it.
Okay. Well, here is something else that people maybe put in their cart. Um, I guess actually, if there were a frequent shopper program for guilt, many
Mm.
women would be platinum members probably. So, because we all have lots of guilt. There's mom guilt, grandma guilt, work guilt, friend guilt, church guilt. We feel guilty when we say yes. Then we feel guilty when we say no. We feel guilty for resting, which we talked about in our last episode. Then we feel guilty for working. And the back and forth, it's exhausting, you guys. It is exhausting. And the truth really is healthy conviction comes from God.
Mm.
Constant guilt usually doesn't. And
Mm.
guilt has never meant it was never meant to become our permanent companion like it is, right?
Hmm.
Jenny, have you ever had a funny example of feeling guilty about something that probably was completely unreasonable? I know I'm putting you on the spot
Yeah.
right now.
Um, Probably lots of things, right? Um, Funny, feeling guilty about something completely unreasonable.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to be like, no, like, no.
Well, with wisdom, I mean, with age comes wisdom, I think too. So I think I'm guessing, like for you and me both, probably Jenny, we
Okay,
had
time
way
out.
more.
Time
What?
out. Before you get
What?
into that, and I hope you remember it because I'm totally interrupting you, but I just have to share whenever questions like this are asked of me, I kind of
Uh huh.
freeze because I always say that I'm the middle of six kids and I wasn't allowed to have favorites because I got what came to me, right?
Oh, poor
So,
Jenny.
I mean, not in a bad way, but it's just like, okay,
Yeah,
this is what
you
you're
had
gonna have.
hand me
Okay.
downs.
So
Mm-hmm.
it really is hard for me to be like, name a time. It's like, I don't know.
Oh
So
no. Oh,
so
that's
you share, Shelley.
okay.
I interrupted you, so you share.
No, I
Do you
was just
remember?
gonna say maybe with age we feel I do feel like the older I get, the easier it is for me to let go of guilt and
Mm,
to like, oh, I should have brought a casserole for that potluck, or oh, I should have signed up to bring muffins for this or that. And in the past, that would have eaten me like, I did have that extra 15 minutes that night. I could have whipped up some muffins or whatever to now I'm like, I've done that for years and I'm not doing it tonight. I'm not able to
oh
do
my
it.
gosh.
I'm not going to. And so letting that go, which that has been a lifelong thing, I think, of feeling like I need to help out, I need to do more, which yes, everybody needs to do that, but you don't always have to be the person who always brings the casserole or always does whatever. I mean, you can like I remember one time I for years when we would have school potlucks like for our kids sporting events, like we have a wrap up at the end, and I always felt like I had to do some giant, huge, like casserole. Or one time Molly wanted me to make chicken fried rice. Like she told me after school and we needed it in an hour or an hour and a half. I'm like, what? But I did it. One of the best things, here's a little helpful tip, you guys, if you have to bring something to a potluck. One time I was like out of ideas. I was going to just get pizza. I didn't know. But over my lunch break, I ran to Fairway and got 4 bags. I'm embarrassed to almost say this, but it was a hit. 4 bags of frozen corn. I threw it in a crock pot, put a stick of butter cut up on top of it, and let it just warm all afternoon. I took it to, and this, we are in farm country where lots of people around here grow their own fresh sweet corn. So this is like not the same. I had a farmer who grows his own sweet corn come up and say, "Oh my gosh, that corn was so good. How did you do it?" I'm like, "What?" So
Oh my gosh.
sometimes we like put things in our cart and make things harder than they have to be. But that literally, guys, is a good life tip. If you need a potluck item, corn, stick of butter. That's what it
Hey,
was. It was the butter.
let's
Yeah.
put that in our cookbook.
Right. Yeah. Someday we're going to do
We
our
have the
abundantly
sheet pan.
flavored cookbook.
Yes, the
Yes.
sheet pan s'mores. We're gonna have crock pot corn. You just wait to see what else is coming. But you totally
these
are
are
speaking
fast
my
and
language.
easy.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're speaking my language, Shelley, because that was me, like with all the potlucks. And I love to cook, you guys. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. So I would always sign up for the casseroles, like egg bakes and everything like that. But towards the end, it was amazing because I was very much like, I signed up first for the plates. I'm bringing the plates, and it felt
Yes.
so good. It was awesome.
Yes.
Because really, you have to take your turn too. And when you always sign up for it,
Right.
this goes back to another episode we talked about.
I know
There
what you're
very
gonna
well
say.
could be someone else who wanted to sign up for that, but all the spots were taken. So
Yes.
yeah, grab the plates, let someone else sign up for the egg bake or the
Right.
casserole,
But take
or
your
do the
turn every
corn.
once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another good one, just buy a couple salad kits, throw it in a bowl, bada boom, bada bing, no work. You spend about $8 to $10 for a couple salad
And
kits.
that's hitting the cookbook too, people. You
And
just
it's
wait.
healthy. It's
Yeah.
healthy.
Okay, let's
That's
move
good.
on from that.
All right.
So, what about when people worry about things that haven't happened yet? Are you guilty of that, Shell?
Ooh, yes.
Yes, yes.
But I'm
And
getting
this
better.
actually, what's that?
Mhm. But I'm getting better.
Oh, good. I am as well, right? It's that awareness. You're aware of that
Mhm.
you're doing it for sure. The other thing this makes me think of is, and I think we've said it on a podcast before. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to all of our episodes. They're really
Yes.
good, right? So,
Yeah, you bet.
and this is where I'm forgetting what I was going to say because I got distracted by our podcast. But basically,
good.
it was when you worry, you're basically telling God, I don't trust you.
Mhm.
But worrying about things that haven't happened yet, this oftentimes is one of the largest items in most carts because we
Yes.
spend so much time preparing for things that never happen, right?
Mhm.
Conversations, health concerns, maybe it's financial worries, family situations, all of the future scenarios that just have not happened. And we convince ourselves that worrying is helping. You guys, it's
Mhm.
not. Most of the time, it's simply draining our energy. And like we've said before, Jesus didn't tell us to carry tomorrow, He told us to trust Him with today. So when you're
Yes.
worrying, you're telling God, I don't trust you. So let that faith come in and
Mhm.
just focus on God will take care of you. But a question I want you to think about is what future situation has been taking up too much space in your cart lately?
Mm. Yeah.
And
And
chuck
to
it
add on
out.
to that, Jenny, I have
Yeah.
heard people say, when you worry, it is negative goal setting. So think about that.
Mm,
You are imagining in your head the worst case scenario probably when you worry. And
mm,
so we talk about all the time, your RAS, your reticular activating system in your brain is always on the lookout for what you're putting in your brain, what you're putting in your mind. So if you are looking for a deal on tires, all of a sudden you will start to see tire ads everywhere. They've always been there. You just haven't noticed them. So if
mhm,
you are setting your RAS for negative situations and worrying about things in the future, you are going to start seeing evidence for those things happening. And so
mhm.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do
Easier
it.
said than done sometimes, but just think about that.
Mhm.
All right, something else that maybe people are putting into their carts, old regrets, right?
Ooh.
Some people are carrying mistakes from years ago. Maybe decisions that they'd like to change or words they wish they hadn't spoken. I can think of a conversation or two, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Right. Maybe they are regretting opportunities they missed. They should have said yes and they didn't. And now they're still stuck in the same old spot. Every time you revisit those regrets, they actually add more weight to the cart. Right? So think about that. You're just adding more thoughts to them. They're adding weight to the cart. But here's the good news. You can learn from your past without living there. I'll say that
Awesome.
again. You can learn from your past without living there. God is far more interested in where you're going than where you've been. Right? So I want everybody to just think about what regret in your life has overstayed its welcome. And it's time to put back on the shelf and leave it be.
Love it. I love it. That is so good and could be hard to think about, but it's going to, you'll feel the weight off your shoulders when you do that, which is
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
So another thing that we want you to maybe take out of your cart and put back on the shelf, not maybe, you need to do it. It's comparison.
Ooh, it's a good one
Bum,
to
bum,
take out.
bum.
Yes.
You guys, comparison is sneaky. It often disguises itself as inspiration.
Oh,
Because you
tell me more.
right? Yeah, well, you see someone else's marriage, you see their business, maybe their vacation, their ministry, their family, they've got it all figured out, their success. And before you know it, you're measuring your life against theirs. So you guys, the problem is that comparison makes us overlook the blessings already sitting in our own cart. Wow.
That is good. Say that one more time.
So
That was good.
comparison makes us overlook the blessings already sitting in our own cart. It shifts our focus from gratitude to lack. And that's a heavy burden to carry. Several years ago, I want to say it was probably over 10 years ago, a good friend of mine, Rebecca, she gave a talk on comparison. And the whole theme around the talk was be your own measuring stick. And it was
Ooh.
beautiful. Just, it's like so many points that hit. If you want to compare, look at yourself and how you always want to be getting better, and just relying on God's help to make that easy for you and let you be your own measuring stick,
I love
which
that, Jen.
is crazy if you think about it.
Yes.
Um,
Well, and I think sometimes too, we get caught up on looking at somebody else's path. And it's important to remind ourselves that that is their path and you have your own path. And when you compare it to what God is doing in somebody else's life and you feel bad about that, we talked about this in a different episode, how you really can't be, if you are jealous of what somebody else has, you'll never have that for yourself because you're constantly looking at their path instead of what's right in front of you and all the opportunities that are coming your way that you might be missing because I should be farther along. I should be doing what they're doing, or why don't I get these opportunities? And I just feel like, and I know you're a champion of this, Jenny, of cheering for other people no matter what is going on in your life. And
absolutely.
I think that is probably, they talk about like what makes a person really beautiful. And to me, what I think someone is so beautiful when they are cheering louder for someone else than anybody. And they could easily be thinking like, oh, I wish I was there. I wish I was doing that. But they're not. They're cheering because they know I'm cheering for them on their path. And I have my own path. And not every time is it your turn to get the applause. And so it's funny because when I was teaching in the classroom, a lot of times we'd have kids get up and share things. And if we were doing a bunch back to back, the first few kids would always get a lot of claps like, oh, great job or whatever. Well, then by the end, people were just kind of tired of it and I should have probably spaced it out. But it's like Nope, it's their turn, and now we are going to give them just as many, claps as you did, as they did for you, and just reminding them that, it's good to cheer other people on. And maybe I'm getting us
Hmm.
totally off topic here, but it
No, I
kind of
don't
just
think so.
reminded me of that.
Well, the other thing I wanted to share about this too is, and I want to be very clear on this too, that sometimes when we say this, you might be thinking lower your standards. That's not what we're saying
Oh
at
no.
all. Because
Mm-mm.
sometimes when you see other people succeeding, or maybe a lot of times for you, that motivates you. And that's fabulous.
True.
But it's very much the cheering them on, because I do try to do that, for sure, just being happy for everyone in their situation. A very wise woman that I worked with at the school several years ago always said, I assume that people are doing the best they can with what they have. And it's just kind of that
Mm.
outlook, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not to lower your standards. And if it is something that motivates you, go for it.
Right.
But I don't think I'd call it comparison then. So don't
Right.
compare.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but let it motivate you if it does that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right. Something else that we want you to think about, is this in your cart? And if so, put it on the shelf. Responsibilities that aren't yours. So
Mm.
this may be the biggest burden women carry because, I mean, if you think about it, many of us feel responsible for everyone's happiness or everyone's feelings or everyone's decisions, everyone's problems. And we kind of become like these little emotional project managers, right? We're trying to fix, trying to manage, we're trying to rescue, we're trying to control, but not every problem is ours to solve and not every burden is ours to carry. So sometimes the most freeing question we can ask is, whose job is that? Right?
Mm.
So, Jenny, I mean, like, can you think of some examples or times that maybe you tried to fix things that were never yours to fix? Putting you on the
You know,
spot again.
yeah, I know. And actually, I have something coming to mind. The first thing that comes to mind is being a mom to adult kids.
Oh, that is a really good one.
Yes,
That's a
because
really good one.
you're used to, you know, always being there to fix their problems and
Mm-hmm.
different things like that. But they need to figure it out on their own. And with the kids being adults, they may ask you for advice, but do the total opposite thing. And you have to be okay with that because
Right.
they are the adults. Can you relate to
That is
that,
true.
Shell?
I can. And we,
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. We have kids, three kids each, and all of similar ages. And it's probably one of the most scary things as a mom, but also exciting because you've poured into them your whole entire life or their whole entire life. And so they have a good head on their shoulders. And I always have to stop and think, did I always make the right decision? No. Did I always choose the right path? No. But as moms, I think that's where our prayer life even becomes stronger because we know like it is completely out of our control. And the only one who can really help us with this is God. And so
Mm.
I know one of my good friends, her dad passed away years ago, but he said when his kids, so my best friend, got to the age where they were all in their 20s, she and her siblings, he's like, I worry more about you kids now than I ever did when you were under my roof because you were under my roof then. Now, I don't know
Mm.
where you are or what you're doing all the time. And he's like, so I always remember him saying that really that's where you're kind of doubling down on prayer and really having faith in God that they're in your hands, they're your kids.
Yeah. And I do have an example of that. A friend of mine just a few weeks ago, she was telling me about her daughter is moving to another state and she's kind of following a boyfriend and she just was a little apprehensive. She really likes the boyfriend, but she just kept saying, "Well, we'll see how it turns out." And I literally said to her, like, I need to stop you here for a minute. Will you please stop saying we'll see how it turns out and start
Mm,
saying it's going to work out. God's got her. And she kind of
mm-hmm.
stopped in her tracks and looked at me and said, yeah, yes, I will start
Mm,
saying that. But it's
that's
just that
awesome.
awareness piece we always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But she had doubt written all over it. And I just wanted to be like, stop. And I did say that. Stop with the doubt.
Right.
Think, have faith in God. Don't worry about it. And just, and if something happens, that's her lesson to learn from. And we can't
Right.
protect our adult kids from that as much as we want to.
Right.
So yeah, kind of
I
crazy for
agree,
that.
Jen. I agree. Yeah.
Okay, enough about worry. Let's talk about a final thing that we think maybe in your cart that you need to put back on the shelf. It's things
Yes.
God already took care of.
Oh,
Okay, so
yeah.
this is the most important item in your cart. And many people are still carrying things that Jesus already carried. It makes me think of the saying that God's still writing your story, so put down the pen.
Ooh, I
Yes.
love that.
Maybe
Yes.
it's forgiven sins that God has already taken care of, or past mistakes, failures, shame. Maybe it's regret, the very things that God has already released. And getting back to that Bible verse, Matthew 11 is actually an invitation. Jesus isn't asking us to become stronger carriers. He's inviting us to put things down, put them back on the shelf,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So, one final question for you before Shelly gets into a fun little, of course, challenge. So, the final question is, what are you carrying that Jesus has already offered to carry for you? One more time. What are you carrying that Jesus has already offered to carry for you? Put it back on the shelf.
That's right. Let him, he's like, think of the shelf as his arms, right? You're just putting it back, putting it back, putting it back. All right. So, like Jenny said, we love a good end of the podcast challenge for the week. And this is the cart clean out challenge. Excuse me.
Bring it on.
Yes. So, here's what I want you to do I want you to imagine taking your cart to the checkout line and one item at a time ask, did God put this here? Is this helping me? Is this mine to carry? And if the answer is no, you're going to leave it behind. Okay. So this week, every time you feel overwhelmed, I want you to ask yourself, what is in my cart right now? And then follow it up with, did God ask me to carry this? And what's interesting is you're probably going to discover that some of your heaviest burdens were never yours to carry in the first place. So put them back on the shelf.
Absolutely. And we also want to verify or clarify, I should say, that Jesus never promised a burden-free life, right?
Right.
But he did promise that we wouldn't have to carry life's burdens alone. He is there. The problem is that many of us keep loading our carts with things he never asked us to pick up. Other people's opinions, that guilt, worry, comparison, regret, and really responsibilities that don't belong to us. No wonder we're tired. So maybe this week isn't about doing more. Maybe it's about unloading more, because sometimes peace isn't found in adding something new. Sometimes it's found in finally putting something down. And maybe that's exactly what Jesus was inviting us to do all along.
Good stuff, Jen. Good stuff. Yeah. If you have found today's episode helpful, please do us a favor and like it, subscribe, share it, download it, do all the things. We really are trying to reach as many people as possible to help them just to live a better life, a clearer mind, a clearer faith life. And you can help us by that by sharing this podcast with others. And we just want you all to remember that we also have a website. If you would like to learn more about us, it is abundantlyfavored.com. You can follow us on all the social media outlets at Abundantly Favored. And am I forgetting anything, Jen? Oh, we do have some merch. If you like the mission, here's cute little mugs. You can also get it at, I never remember this. I'm going to help.
abundantlyfavored.itemorder.com. And with that, we hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And remember, you are abundantly favored.
Have a great week, everyone.
Goodbye.